a lot of the skills that come after sales come a lot easier once you really understand the sales.
We don't need to waste your time talking about the pain points and digging deep and asking so many questions. Just very direct. What you need, what's your goal, what you're looking for, what haven't you got in there? Okay, this is what we can do.
Helping the people that you're coaching, helping your community, helping your students make a transformation, not only with their skills, but with their beliefs. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Charge It to the Game podcast. Today, we got a good one for you guys. We're going to talk about how we and our agency has generated $35 million in revenue for your favorite guru's favorite guru. With that being said, I got a question for you guys. Out of all the offers that we've actually sold on, managed, and partnered with, well, what are some of the most memorable offers that come to mind?
Well, hang on, but because if we drop a number like that, we gotta clarify that for a second. What does that actually mean? 35 million selling for some of the biggest online coaches in the world. A lot of people out here just talk a bunch of shit. A lot of people out here just throw numbers out. They can't actually back it up. That's based off of what? That 35 million.
That's cash collected. That's revenue generated for different business owners that run some sort of coaching business or offer.
Yeah, I think the number is like close to 35. I remember it was more like 30 a year ago when we actually like sat down and like thought about it, had a conversation about it, I think at dinner once, but then like I think like 8 months passed, and we've done well across all contracts.
Yeah.
Probably well over 5 million since then. So realistically, it's probably closer to 40. But I mean, we've been in this game now since 2019. Even earlier than that, if you count the agency as a whole, when Dylan just started solo,
Right.
And especially like at the start of, really the start of the whole like online coaching and online guru like phase and world, right? Through COVID, when there was a lot of money getting printed, ad costs were super low. Obviously we were scaling very aggressively on multiple different offers at the same time. And we've been clearing essentially $1 million months across most contracts for anywhere between 6-12 months straight, right? Give or take, plus or minus. How many offers would you guys say like total we've sold on since day one?
Personally, I think 15.
Yeah, I know personally my number is like 13, 14.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, that's added revenue. 35 million that they would not have had without us. Like, these people already make money, but we just took their non-buyers into buyers and brought another extra 35 million. All us. So it's not like we were just order takers, calling people and just taking the credit card. No, it's a lot deeper than that.
Well, yeah, but because the big thing was that, like, especially in the start, right, is like we would partner up with like the first client that we really scaled to $1 million a month consistently. Like we were, and Amaan was the top closer on that offer for a long time. We were anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million a month, like consistently, probably for a good like 8, 9, 10 months straight. That was like our first year in high ticket sales, right? Was when things were really pushing. And like he was someone who was generating a lot of traffic. He had a very small personal brand at the time. But he was spending a lot of money on ads, and he was able to scale and he was able to spend more money on ads because, the sales team, we were doing our thing. And I don't think at the time anybody was really doing what we were doing, at least like that we knew of.
Yeah, it was definitely a very like small select. I mean, when it comes down to like paid ads, like there's a very small amount of, I feel, businesses that have cracked the code to paid advertising. But that offer, dude, like, this isn't a marketing show, but the return on ad spend we were getting was nuts. Like on the front end alone, it was profitable, 2 or 3x ROAS, and then you include the back end revenue we used to bring in for that client. Insane. Probably brings that up to like 5, 7, 8.
Yeah, and at the time it was so I think that first offer we were on, right, the e-commerce contract, smaller brand, started scaling that super hard, super aggressively. I think it was like $10 or $20 cost per book call that we were getting. Like this was like prime COVID.
That was you guys, right? I wasn't there yet. I was selling on another offer.
Yes.
That's when I was selling on Ty still.
I think so.
Ty Lopez, right?
Yeah. So that was like prime COVID. Like at this office, we had like 20 salespeople. There was like multiple rooms with like salespeople just everywhere. It was crazy in here. 20 salespeople at least on like packed up calendars. And then in addition to that, everybody has 100 leads in the spreadsheet. Right. So we were doing, like anywhere between 20 to 30K days, day in, day out, for a long time, which was really cool. And then, yeah, I think that was kind of like a case of like right place, right time, right? Like there's a book right here called Outliers, the Story of Success. And it talks about how, a lot of, people when they're successful, it's like there's a lot of preparation, hard work, skill development, but it's also when preparation meets opportunity, right? And it's like me and you, Amaan, we were doing our thing. We were hustling, grinding, whatever. We started doing this in late 2019. And then when everything shut down, money started getting printed like crazy. Right place, right time. We were in the office. We were connected to Dylan. And then that's when we kind of turned on the jets, right? But yeah, no, that was definitely an exciting summer, and it gave us because now, and it's a bit of a different landscape now, right? Like you're not just going to walk into a high ticket sales job where you're getting 20 inbound book calls on your calendar a day with 100 fresh leads in your sheet every single day to call. Like you don't really get that anymore, right? So we basically like took that opportunity and ran with it. Like me and you were in the office every day, 12 hours a day. 7 days a week, day in, day out, just fucking grinding, man.
That offer was a big learning experience. I feel like that offer is what really not only set myself up for the trajectory and the path that I'm on now, but also just the agency. Like when it came down to like that offer, like getting the marketing dialed in, consulting the client with optimizing their fulfillment, dialing in sales to the extreme, and understanding what it means to dial in a sales team and the sales process. I feel like as an agency as a whole, we learned so much there, and then just applied what worked to every other offer. And I think that was a true catalyst, at least for this office, because Rome, I know you were closing out of the Mississauga office at that time. For our office, like that was the catalyst to where we're at now.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I wasn't thinking about like optimizing or market or anything. I was just like, yo, let me try to close some 997s. Let me try to close some 4997s, like, I would just see Amaan throw up a fucking 5K before 9 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, shit, bro, like, let me breathe. But nah, that was fun. That was a good time for sure. And then yeah, so like that kind of allowed us to, and it's all credit to Dylan really for building that, taking the lead on that, getting that done in the beginning, building out the agency, building out the team, landing the client, doing his thing with the marketing, Antonio doing his thing as well. Shout out Antonio out in Portugal, probably running some operations right now, getting it done. And then yeah, I think we started working with Ty. It was like later 2020 when you guys started working with him, right?
2020. Yeah. That's when I worked with him. Yeah, that came out of nowhere, bro. That came out of nowhere. That's when I took the decision to quit whatever I was doing before. That's when I was like, I want to do sales. But I was like I would be, if you looked at me then, I'm the last person to do sales at that time. I had no communication skills, no people skills, couldn't talk to anybody, bro. But I'm like, I need to learn sales. And so I'm like, okay, let me just get a mentor. That's the best thing I can do. Let me get a mentor. Let me get a sales course. Let me understand like what is sales, what is psychology, how do you persuade, how do you negotiate? Like I always envied these like sales people who always knew what to get the way with life, bro. And honestly, till today, it's like almost like a miracle. I always thought it was a miracle, but then now, like only recently, bro, I started understanding why I actually got that opportunity with Ty Lopez. right? Somebody who's never picked up a phone before, somebody who's never gotten laid before, bro. Someone, was able to close for Ty 3 months into my sales career. And that was because I just said to myself, I've never went hard at anything in my life. I was a fucking loser, bro. I had no skill. I don't know how to play a fucking piano. I don't know how to do anything properly in my life. I knew how to skip school, bro. I knew how to get into fights. That's all I knew. That's all I knew, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, and I had no respect for anybody, bro. I wasn't a high value man, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, let me learn sales. So every fucking day, I would hop on these coaching calls and I would role play with random people I've never met. I wouldn't tell my mom and my friends about it because I knew they would say, "You're fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're role playing."
You guys were running role plays when you're doing the training?
Yeah, we're running role plays, bro. I would even role play in the shower by myself, and my brother would knock on the door. We're like, "Yo, are you okay?" And he would tell my mom, and how the conversation with my mom is like, Summer says you're talking to yourself in the washroom and like you're fighting with yourself in the washroom. I'm like, I'm just running objection handling, like for myself. I'm like imagining the prospect. I want to think about it. I'm like, okay, I'll let you think about it. So my family thought I was going fucking crazy, bro. But I'm like, I'm doing this,
Mm-hmm.
And then because I just like never stopped showing up on coaching calls for 3 fucking months, role playing. I did some cold calls I won't get into that a lot, but I did some cold calls. And then one day Dylan called me, was like, "Yo, I have an opportunity for you. You're consistent. You seem coachable. I'll give you a shot."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when preparation met opportunity, bro. And because of like my consistency, because I gave 7 days a week, by the way, on the weekends, I would come to this very office. I would drive 4 hours every fucking weekend on a Friday, just so I have Dylan listen to my sales call and give me some fucking advice so I can go back home and apply it,
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, first month I made in 3 months, guys, I made 35 grand.
First 3 months.
First 3 months.
Just like that.
Nuts.
35 grand, bro.
Was it back then like what was was it like high ticket, low ticket, or like what was
$1,000?
$1,000?
997s. 997s all fucking day, bro. That's it. And it was sick, bro. It was a sick program. 3 months, they would get like a couple coaching calls. They would get a built store for them. It was nothing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You get that now, that's like 5 G's, 10 G's minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
and especially with somebody like Ty, where it's like the brand is already there. Like everybody has such a big relationship with them. Like it's crazy when you sell on an offer like that. Where it's literally just all day, every day. It's just like book calls. And you were probably closing out what, like a 40, 50, 60%.
Bro, it's crazy, bro. And at that point, I was like almost like a person you can say, because I'm just still learning English as well. Okay. If you talk to me, you'd be like, I just talked to this Arab kid with special needs, I think. You know what I mean? So it was like, till today, I'm like, fuck, if I knew sales a little better, I swear I would have made 100 grand a month. I would have made 100 fucking grand a month.
I think the exact same thing when I think about the max days when we were first starting out. Like, damn, bro. Like, if we knew what we knew now, bro. Oh my God.
Deadly.
That'd be crazy. But
it paused, and then in 2021, we did it again altogether this time.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we went fucking crazy, bro. I remember.
What were you doing in between that?
What
was it
the music one, right?
The music offer?
Yes. It was Clinton Sparks. God bless Clinton Sparks. Shout out Clinton Sparks. Real G, bro. It was how to make it big in the music business.
Right.
Bro, I remember. I have this memory. How you'd close deals, you gotta share everyone. Where you jump into the McLaren.
Hang on. Tell them what was the offer all about first?
It's how to make it big in the music business, right? Because Clinton Sparks was a big producer for Rihanna, T.I., like all these big names, right? So he's like well known.
You look him up, you see pictures with Drake, pictures with 2 Chainz, Jay-Z. Like this guy's huge, bro.
He was at the mastermind party that we were at in Utah.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He knows everybody, bro. Right now, he tells us, if you ever guys come to Miami, you want to get into anywhere, let me know. He's a good connect to have. But he was teaching people how to make it big in the music business.
Mm-hmm. So he was like a big producer behind the scenes, like industry guy, DJ, that kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And you would help upcoming artists become big, and you help them. You would connect them if they're good, all that stuff. Yeah, different tiers of mentorship. So yeah, we did that for a little while. Did really, really well.
So you're on the phone every day with like basically music artists who are trying to do something,
Yes.
right? So yeah, what was the X factor, bro? How do you close a deal with a broke, struggling musician, SoundCloud rapper trying to make it big in the music industry?
That's a good question, bro. Always tap into the emotion. Like why? Like why is that so important for you to make all these music videos and all these songs? Like what's this all about? Where does this come from? So with art, because it's an art, right? Music, and you'll notice that all of them have a message behind their music that they want to get out. You have to understand what that message is. And then just use that.
Did you ever like talk to like some like white kid from the suburbs, with like two parents, like and a good childhood, who would like talk about like hood shit? Did you ever hear that from? Because I know you would listen to like their songs, right?
100%.
Did you ever see any of that or no?
All the time, bro. Like all the time. And some music were actually pretty good. Like some songs were good. I had a McLaren at that time, right?
Right.
So I'd put on the McLaren and I would send them a video of me in the McLaren listening to the music, bro, and they got so fucking happy.
Yo,
I'm going big.
Imagine you're like a SoundCloud rapper. You're trying to make it out. Like you book this call with this guy named Rome. He sends you a video playing it.
Yo, this shit
supercar.
fire.
That's funny.
That's funny. But okay, yeah. And then I remember we had a conversation when we were restarting Ty, because he kind of went pause on his personal brand, right? He went ghost for like 6 months or something, and then he came back strong. And then I remember we were out like smoking cigars or something in the back, and then Dylan was like, "Yo, like Ty Lopez ecom is the easiest shit in the world to sell. I hope you guys are ready for it." And like we had no clue. We were like, "Okay, yeah, for sure, this is gonna be cool." Then we actually started selling on it. That was different. Well, we started but because first it was Mastermind, right? Before we started doing like
Was
ecom
it?
agency.
Yeah.
Or
The
at
AIM
least it was.
Mastermind, the AIM program, Advanced Immersion
Do you-
Mentorship.
Do you remember when I started selling on Ty?
You were selling AIM.
Yeah.
I thought we did Ty again, for ecom and then Mastermind, or was it Mastermind, ecom, Mastermind again type thing?
I think that's
Yeah,
what we
that's what
did.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Were you selling on Ty at that time?
For the Mastermind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. Okay.
Yeah, I even flew out with Dimitri. I flew out with Dylan.
Right,
to,
right, to the
to the
Miami.
actual
To
Mastermind
Yeah.
event there.
Yeah.
The fireside
We were
chat.
selling there, bro. This is when like this was a big moment for me, bro. I was like around with like 7-figure entrepreneurs, 8-figure entrepreneurs, and I was shitting bricks, bro. And Dylan was teaching me there how to go and sell. You didn't even teach me, bro. He's like, okay, go talk to people and close them on these $100,000 packages. I'm like, how? He's like, okay, watch me. I watched him do it once. It was so cool, bro. He had 3 people in front of it, 4 people. He's like, okay, why is everybody here, and what's your goal? This, that. Okay, you guys come here. You guys. But it was a good learning experience for sure.
Nice.
But I would
nice.
not have been able to do that if I didn't first sell for Ty and get that confidence that I can make so much money selling for Ty, and then that. I don't know about you guys, but that Mastermind, us talking to these like 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs, changed the way that I look at rich people.
For sure.
Right?
In what way would you say?
I was always nervous, bro, talking to not only like just people who were successful, way more successful than me, right? I always thought maybe they're dicks, they have a big ego, you know what I mean? And then it's funny. This is the time where I knew that they were cool. I had a conversation with somebody who was calling him up. He put his information. He wanted to go into the Mastermind event. And you know me how I start on my calls, right? Super high energy. Hey, John. How you doing? Rome here. He's like, oh, I love your energy. I'm like, yo, I appreciate it. What are you up to? He's like, I'm just earthing, man. I'm like, what do you mean? Socks off? He's like, everything is off. I'm like, okay, nice.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, okay, love him. Like, you do that all the time? He's like, heck yeah, man. I love nature. I'm like, nice. Tell me about what you do. He's like, oh, I just have, 8-figure company. Just a couple million here or there. I'm like, okay, this guy is actually cool. And they're very direct, bro. You don't need to waste your time talking about their pain points and digging deep and asking so many questions. Just very direct. What you need, What's your goal? What you're looking for? Why haven't you gotten there? Okay, this is what we can do. Very short conversations. A lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I had a moment exactly like that. So we were. So when we first started, right, it was like obviously the AIM, right? What it was called, Advanced Immersion Mentorship, I believe. And then there was like the 5K, 10K, 25. And then I think we ended up opening that up to 50 and 100. We added some extra stuff to it. But then we were also sprinkling in the fireside chats. You guys remember the fireside chats?
Fireside chat.
These fireside chats were
You were the king of the fireside chats, right?
Bro, it was crazy
You were the
because
fucking
it was
king of that.
we were getting obviously book calls, right? And you're hopping on with serious players, entrepreneurs, all of that.
Yeah.
My first day, I think I closed 2 5Ks. Like the next day, I closed the 10K. So like those deals were like more sophisticated business owners, entrepreneurs, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Tell the guys what's fireside
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. So the fireside chat was there was also at the same time there was a number, right, that Ty would put up on his story. He would send it to his email lists or whatever, where it was like, hey, like, text this number to come out to a fireside chat, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, like, genius name now that like I think about it, calling it the fireside chat, because it shows like it's a small group.
There was no fire there.
There wasn't any.
But okay.
Wasn't no bonfires, no marshmallows, none of that. But yeah, no. So it was just like an event. It was basically a one-off event, right?
Yep.
As opposed to like the 5 or 10Ks where it was multiple events and like group calls and extra networking stuff. This was just a $497 one-off event, right? And the first one was in Miami.
Yeah.
So it's like when you think about it, massive entrepreneur, massive personal brand. Private mastermind in Miami. It's positioned as a fireside chat, very intimate, very close,
$500.
small group, $500.
Yeah.
Easiest fucking thing I've ever sold in my entire sales career was this fireside chat. So I would just be on the spreadsheet, right? We would get hundreds of people who text in for this thing, calling people up, yo, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about you. Great. Hey, what are you looking to gain from this event? Okay, awesome. Hey, we actually had an entrepreneur who had a similar situation. This is what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, what are you doing on October 15th?
Yeah.
Can you make it out to Miami?
Smooth.
You got to free the calendar
So
first.
smooth. You free the calendar first.
And they're like, oh, like, yeah, that's actually a big tip. First, you got to clear the calendar, right, before you pitch anything. And then they're like, I don't know. I'm like, hey, look, listen, everybody needs an excuse to go to Miami once in a while, right? And they're like, yeah, you're. And then okay, cool. Fireside chat, intimate event, blah blah blah. Break it down. $497, and I would be closing like 6, 7, 8 of these like every single day. It was so much fun. That was a cool event, and that actually leads me to my point. You were talking about how, when but because in sales, like, you deal with a lot of people, right? And if you're any offer that you're on, and you see somebody's application and they're like, yeah, I'm this entrepreneur and I got all these businesses, and then they hop on the call and they're just like an asshole, right? You see that a lot. So like I used to have that perception too of like, okay, like successful people, entrepreneurs, they're just rude to salespeople, and like they're just douchebags, I'm like, okay, fine, that's what it is. As I was closing these fireside chats, Eric Spofford booked in a call, and I remember I had a conversation with him. He's actually a client of ours now, but I had a conversation with him. And it was so cool because, like, obviously you guys know his story. Like he has this crazy come up story of, going through, being an addict growing up, being homeless, crime, all this shit, like started from rock bottom, and ended up building a massive business, 9-figure entrepreneur, right? 9. And yeah, like he was like breaking down the whole story to me. Like he was explaining it to me, and he was like being super open, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I'm just asking him questions out of curiosity. Whatever. We probably had like a 15, 20-minute conversation.
Yeah. How much did he sell that business for? It's like I think it's like 115 million, like a year ago or something.
Something like that. Yeah. And I remember like, because he was breaking down a situation to me and everything, and I was like, oh wow, this is. And then like later on in the conversation, he dropped that number, and I was like,
you remember when we went to his house, right? And he showed us that. He's like, this is what they fucking gave me for 115 million. This little fucking glass.
Yeah, like a little award.
You saw that?
Yeah. No, but that was so cool. And it's so cool how like we get the opportunity to talk to, entrepreneurs at a high level. But yeah, it was super, super genuine, super chill. And it just showed me that like it's you know, the kind of like character that I want to strive to have, you know, no matter how successful I get, you know, like you notice even Dylan's a great example of this, right? Where like Dylan could be talking to someone who's achieved nothing, accomplished nothing, and he'll treat them with the utmost respect, right? Doesn't matter who you're dealing with, whether it's the person at Starbucks or if you're at a networking event dealing with some major player, you know, you treat people with respect. And that's what it took away from that. He ended up, I didn't even close it on the first call. I think he was like, yeah, I'm just going to get my assistant to reach out to you and get this taken care of. And I was like, okay, gotcha, no problem. Do you think we can like really quickly, like I can take care of it right now. I can walk you through the next steps. And he's like, no, my assistant's going to reach out to you. I'm like, okay, no problem. That's cool. And then, yeah, I spoke to his assistant, you know, but, yeah, no, that was definitely a cool experience.
What did he show up with in the event, to the event?
Wide body, Rolls Royce Cullinan, just crazy.
Gangster as fuck.
I remember, but because it's like you said, right? They you know, high level people, they show up on calls. They're not wasting time, right? They're like, hey, I'm here because I need something, right? There's a problem I have. He was starting his personal brand at the time. Hey, just exited this company, going all in my personal brand. These are the things that I want to do. The reason why he wanted to come out to Ty's event was because he wanted to like see how he put it on, right? He just wanted to like see, okay, Ty Lopez, big name, see how he puts on the event, see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, then he was at like 15K followers. I remember
Really?
Yeah, he was like,
He used to be small.
yeah, he was at 15K followers.
Damn, what is he at right now?
Now
Like
the
half a
dude's
mil?
at $1 million plus.
Million plus already?
Yeah.
Damn. That was quick.
Yeah, no, super cool. And it was a cool like full circle moment because Dylan ended up going out to that event.
Yeah.
Again, big credit to Dylan, right? Like when we start out this podcast with a number like that, like we can't do that without giving massive salute to Dylan for being who he is.
100%.
For you know the network that he's created, the relationships that he's built in the industry. He was at that event with Ty. Ended up starting up a conversation with Eric, and then yeah, one thing led to another. We started scaling out his team, which is really cool.
Crazy. Yeah, that's why I knew it. I'm like, if I want to get into this space, if I want to have a fucking chance, just 0.1% chance, then yes, I need to learn, but I need to find somebody who's already in the space, who's already connected, who already has some credibility, already has some skill, even if I have to pay them. Because I knew that was like, I didn't know much about anything, but I'm like, that's the only thing I knew, that I need to find that person, let them teach me, and then everything else will come.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I did. And yeah, God bless Dylan. God bless Dylan.
Yep. I asked Dylan about that. I was like, yo, so like, how do you like go out to an event like this? Because the biggest thing, right? Like, we didn't, you know, none of us really have big personal brands, at least not yet. Stay tuned. But you know, like we're all relatively small behind the scenes. You know, we've just been closing deals, making a lot of these massive coaches millions. You know, but I asked even like Dylan, right? I'm like, how do you like land somebody like Ty, right? How do you land a client like that? How do you land someone like, you know, a lot of the other clients that we've worked with, right? One, it comes down to just like straight up results, right? That we've brought in other people, like by having a sales team that we can just plug into any offer that we connect with and instantly drive revenue for them. Like one, that's a huge need that all of these business owners are just waiting for the opportunity to find, right? If they have any kind of marketing going on. And two, it's just like what Dylan told me was, you know, it's just like game recognized game. You know, he can start up a conversation with someone, and just with the way he carries himself and his expertise, he can make something happen. You know, and I think especially working with Ty, right, having that like name credibility, right, that allowed us to, you know, scale what we were doing. Because at the time, with the first offer that we were on, e-com, it was just one offer, and we were I believe the terminology is scaling it vertically, right? Where it's like, okay, one thing, we're scaling it, getting as many salespeople onto one specific offer, take it as far as we can, right? So we're scaling it vertically, as opposed to getting multiple clients where we have multiple different accounts, where if there's ever volatility, if a client gets an ad account shut down or whatever, because it happens all the time, it's like, great, we have a, you know, full roster of clients that are all running active offers at the same time, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that too just expanded the vision of Dylan, the agency, us. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our experience was, I know for myself, being on that one ecom offer, it was just like, okay, like this is it. I'm selling ecom for X amount of months. I don't really know. But through selling for Ty and just having that access to other clients, Ty's network, you know, it's big on what we're doing now with like partnerships and scaling horizontally, like you mentioned, blew everything up.
Yeah. It's like even now, like all these clients, like we follow them, they follow us back, and you know your Instagram is your digital resume, bro. This is how enough people know. People fuck with you or not. They look at your Instagram, see who you follow. Eric Spofford follows you. Oh, he follows you back. Okay, incredible. Like me and Clinton Sparks follow each other. Me and people with hundreds of thousands of followers follow each other, and that's built us credibility, bro. Yeah. There's just small things like that. I want to kind of touch on a little bit of like how to talk to these successful people, bro. And I feel like a lot of people have problems. Like I'm listening to a lot of calls now, like real sales calls where people have money, and just for some reason these guys go like super robotic, and they're the ones who tell me, "Yo, like I don't like to talk to big players who have a lot of money. They're dicks." I'm like, they're not dicks. You're the one who's being a dick. You sound like like every other sales guy who's just out there and putting themselves first. You got to put them first. So yeah, if you guys want to touch on that, like
Amaan,
what's your approach?
You told me something once. You told me something once that I remember that stuck out to me.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
Is yeah, like when you think of like, you know, entrepreneurs making serious money, right? Head of a company, every single person in that company is paid by this one dude. Every single person in that guy's family, right, probably relies on him financially as well. You know, probably a lot of his friends and a lot of his circle, right, they might be friends with him. A big part of that is because he has money and because he's successful, where it's like every single person around this guy just wants him for his money, right? Where if you can just forget about that and just treat them as an equal, right, and just, you know, chill the fuck out, not need anything from them, and just, you know, sit back on a call and just have a conversation, then instantly you're going to create that respect, right, where it's an even playing field.
Yeah. No, I have a strong belief around that because I used to have like a more of a like salesman mentality, but like switching to that closer mentality where you're viewing that successful person as an equal. You know, it really just came down to like what you were just saying, right? These guys have so much responsibility and everyone's always talking to them with like needing something. But when you just like flip that perspective and like you're like, hey, what do you need? They're like, what the hell? Nobody's ever like asked me that. And obviously you're not going to ask, what do you need? You're going to imply that through your demeanor, your vibe, the questions. But that's huge. And a big breakthrough, like I remember a 25K deal that I closed. Like we didn't even talk about his business at all. Maybe like the last 2 minutes when he was actually giving me his credit card, but the whole conversation was just focused on, yeah, you know, I admire Ty Lopez, you know, he's doing a lot of philanthropy work and like I want to do the same thing. I'm very altruistic, and like we just spoke about him, philosophy, how he meditates, and at the end I was like, all right, it's 25K. He's like, okay, you guys take Amex? I'm like, yeah, we do.
Fuck yeah, we do. Nice.
But it was a very like non-salesy conversation. It was a very human conversation. It was no agenda, no nothing, just like, yo, what's on your mind? And then let them steer the conversation and then just ask.
Yeah, the sales are a lot easier when the ticket is higher. Like 10, 15, 25, 50, that the sales gets a lot easier than the 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 ones, for sure.
I agree, but I also disagree with that because I feel like if you don't make those mental flips, you'll jump onto a high ticket offer and you'll be like, fuck, like these guys are hanging up on me. These guys are calling me out on my bullshit. And you need to go through that. But that helps you learn, like, you know what, like, let me just jump on these calls with no hidden agenda. And then it becomes easy, if you know what I mean.
Not really. I was distracted by your beautiful eyes. Can you say it again?
This guy,
Well, yeah, no.
It's gotta
I
make
mean,
them
I mean,
think.
it's easier to close high ticket when you've developed, certain skill sets. You understand how to talk to a different kind of a person.
Yeah, I guess
That-
what I'm trying to say is like if you guys remember when we used to close the $500 and the $1,000 ones at $1,500,
Yeah, fuck, man.
our calls would be like an hour long because we're objection
Yeah,
editing.
Rome-
They're afraid
Rome,
to
how
put
do I-
$500 down.
How do I know I'm going to see results before I give you this $500? Like, can you give me some kind of guarantee that, this I'm going to get to where I want to be?
Yeah,
What's just like headache clients.
you never have those conversations when it's like
Yeah,
5K
never.
plus, 10K
Yeah.
plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. But I think okay, sure. So like we talked about, some big names, and we've we like to talk about touch because it's easily recognizable. But Rome, you're currently managing a team, selling like some high ticket real estate stuff, which has been cool. I've learned a lot from you, conversations that we've had with how you've been managing that team. Amaan, you're managing multiple offers. I'm managing a couple offers as well. There's a lot going on, and we have to wear a lot of hats with what we do. We also obviously run our own offer now over the last, 2-3 years now, I think. 3 years almost that we've started it, maybe.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, millionaire closers, even taking on that, right? Like, one, I think with millionaire closers, you guys want to talk about MC for a bit?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
what that was like. I think just the fact that we had like so many years selling for other clients, being on the inside of businesses that are generating $500,000 a month. It's like you're understanding, okay, like this is how the marketing works. Okay, like this is what they're doing. These are the different channels that we bring in leads. Okay, cool. These are the systems with the sales side of it. All right, great. This is what's happening on the fulfillment. Oh, here's a client that sucks with their fulfillment, and here's a client that's killing it with their fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
And then we see the good, the bad, the ugly in every single offer. And we're basically getting paid a lot of money for years to get a full education on how to go and build our own offer and how to do it the right way, right? Where one, yeah, we can make great money and we can be successful as on the business side of it, but two, where we can also deliver real results, where we can, find the right kind of people that we want to work with, right? Where it's like now we do all of it, right? Now that I think of it, we do the marketing, or we do a lot of it, right? When it comes to like the content and putting ourselves out there, we do the sales for it. We also do the fulfillment, right? All the way to the end. What were like some lessons that you guys learned from past clients that you used to transition into MC?
Sure. I just want to give a little bit of context of like MC.
Yeah.
For people who don't know what MC is. So for the longest time, we were making a shit ton of money for other people, right? And then Dylan was like, we're making all this money for all these clients, and we're getting like a percentage from it. I'm like, why don't we sell our own offer? We clearly have an expertise. We're clearly the go-to for all high-profile coaches, consultants, business owners who are looking for top-tier closers, and they come to us because we know our shit, and our guys know our shit. So that's when we launch our own offer to teach people sales, right, and get them to a certain skill level, and then help them get them jobs. That's kind of what we do and what we've been doing for the last 2 years. Pretty successful. I think we have over 4,000 students or something like that. But what were some of the lessons? What was your question?
Yeah. What were some of the lessons that you took away from doing millions, selling for dozens of coaches, working on the inside of a lot of these different offers that you feel like you took away and you applied to MC?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind, considering a big role that we all took on was fulfillment, was and is helping the people that you're coaching, helping your community, helping your students make a transformation, not only with their skills, but with their beliefs. So I'm behind the scenes, with a lot of these one-on-one coaching calls, and I'll speak to a lot of guys who have similar goals, right? 10K a month, freedom, control, the whole 9 yards. And a lot of the coaching, I'd say 70% of it is focused on sales, buyer psychology, objection handling, strategy, theory. But the other 30% is all like mindset and character. So when we're on like the back end, I find that I'm able to challenge people a little more to help them see better results, to help them prime their mind for new information.
Right. And especially just the fact that because we're involved in all of it, it's all congruent, right? In the marketing, sales, and fulfillment, where it's like, you know, when we make content, right? It's like I know how to speak to, you know, what our ideal client is struggling with. You know, I think that's one of my biggest lessons, you know, like when, right, like if you're on a call, for example, right, like if you're selling like a biz op, you know, whatever, right, whatever it is that you're offering, you're never going to say like, oh, so this is going to be like super easy, super straightforward, like just plug in step 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to win, right? No, because one, it doesn't set anybody up for success, and two, nobody really believes that, right? So I remember when I first started making YouTube videos, you know, when we started the YouTube, we started getting online. I looked at what everything that was out there, and it was all just like extremely surface level. Oh, 3 steps to make 10K a month with high ticket sales, right? First you do this, then you do that, then you do this, right? And it was very oversimplified, very surface level, right? And like I know, just from all my years of sales, like I know that people don't want to hear that, right? People don't really give a fuck about that, and the people who do, the people who believe that, aren't really the people who are going to go and see success anyways, right? So the first video that I dropped was an hour-long Google document explaining like every little nuance of how we help someone see a cool result, because I'm like, hey, like this is actually what needs to happen to help someone see results, you know? And I think that's what allowed the YouTube to do, you know, pretty good over the last year.
Yeah.
At least starting out, is just understanding how to speak to people, understanding what people are looking for, right? Not necessarily what they want to hear, but what they need to hear, you know?
I think it's very similar for me. It was, because how long did, from when we started selling to when we launched an offer, how long was that? Would you say 3 years?
2019
We launched
to 2022, probably.
Let's say 3 years, 4 years, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
In those 3 years, bro, like every year, obviously we did better, but we've done at that point thousands of sales calls. We've met like almost every type of personality. More importantly, we've went through a lot of personal development in ourselves, reading, mentoring, getting out of our comfort zone, spending money for mentorships, right? So we went through all that bullshit. So we had a lot of limiting beliefs of our own that we had to overcome. So with the way that it helped me is that when I started getting on these calls and I'm selling something that I believed in everything else I was selling before, but this is something I actually practice and preach. So the conviction is so real in my voice. But this is where I'm transferring all my lessons that I learned through the phone to these guys. You know what I mean? It wasn't a matter of like, okay, I never felt like it was a sales call. I always felt like, okay, there's this human being who wants my help on the phone. And there might be some objections, there might be some limiting beliefs, but I'm ready to help this person. You know, I'm ready to put them first. And because of all those lessons that I learned, it gave me the patience and the right words and the right tonality to deal with every single person and have such a high fucking closing rate. Right? Almost like, because imagine you were God. Okay? You were God, you would know everybody's fucking pain point. You know exactly what to say to get them to where they want to go. You know, we're not God. But I feel like we reached a point where like we went through, we have so much experience to share our lessons and transfer that and help them, give them perspective shifts. So that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, because it's like, it's crazy, but because what I've realized is like, you know, we're speaking to people who are a few years back on the journey that we're on, you know?
Yes.
We're literally speaking to the versions of ourselves that we were at when we were just starting out. And it's like, yeah, everything that you just said, right? Like those, call it 3 years of starting out, like me personally being a fucking broke college dropout with very little skill sets or anything, with just like a desire to win and a desire to go and make it. You know, like I was able to figure it out, go through the grind. I went through like all the bullshit and the doubts and the limiting beliefs. I saw the highs as well, where it's like when we speak to someone on the phone, it's like, I already know like everything that you're going to go through. Like I already know the exact path. I already know how it's going to feel when you close your first deal. I already know like what doubts might be going through your mind right now. You don't have to say them, right? And yeah, that's why it's so cool, because that's the whole point of doing what we do, right? That's why every next generation is more successful than the one prior, right? Because lessons are passed down, right?
Exactly.
That's why you see younger people becoming more and more successful every single year.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And I want to add to that, but I genuinely believe the reason, what you just said is the reason why we have a lot of fucking success stories, because of the way we conduct our calls. Not like salespeople, like actually like an actual closer. Like we're actually, again, we have their best interest. We're telling them how hard this is gonna be. You're gonna have to do this, this, this. Are you really at a point in life ready to do this? It ain't gonna be easy, but if you do it, it'll change your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
And that's why we have such high success rate. That's why they go in motivated. They know they need to put in the work, and they put in the work, and they make the rewarding income.
Like, oh, you want to make
Straight up.
20K a month, huh? Great. Love that. Great goal. Love the ambition. Right? Let me ask you, like, what steps have you taken so far to get closer to this goal? Oh yeah, I've been watching YouTube videos for the last, few months and everything. Okay. Nice. And like outside of that, anything else? No, just haven't done that. Exactly.
Basically.
Where it's like, okay, great, right? And it's like, it's no disrespect, it's not like calling people out, but like, yeah, like, motherfucker, okay, great, I love the goal, awesome, great, let's go for it. Let's go for $250,000 a year by the time you're 22 years old. But let me share a perspective with you, right? This is what you're looking at here. Like, this is what the next few years are going to look like. Have you ever accomplished anything like this before? Okay, no, then what that means is going to be the hardest thing you've ever fucking done. This is going to mean you every single day role playing, getting better, listening to your calls, feeling like an idiot because you fucked up, waking up again, doing it fucking better the next day, nonstop, getting doubt from people around you telling you what the fuck are you doing. You have to push through all of that for years, and then you'll get to your 20 grand a month. Is that something that you're ready to do, Mr. Prospect? and then just like doing that, people are like, oh fuck, damn, like I've never, like no one's ever actually told me what it is before,
For sure. There's a verse in the Bible, Misha, you probably know. The truth shall set you free. Or you seek it and thou shalt be free. Something like that. And it's like that.
Nice one.
That's what's sexy. That's what works. Like at the end of the day, in this whole online world, like how many people are marketing to you and lying to you and over embellishing? When you just take that other approach, it's like, whoa, he's the only person I've spoken to that's told me that. Like I fuck with that.
Yeah, and especially in like high ticket, like, I think it's getting better now. There's some real ones out there for sure that I've seen making content and stuff, and it's good to see that it's kind of transitioning. But like I feel like when we first started making content, like there was a lot of garbage out there. Like a lot of like, oh yeah, I just take calls with people who are just ready to buy before I even speak to them, and I'm just an order taker, and I make $500 on every call I take. Super easy, super simple. Read a script, make a bunch of money, buy my course. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool to take the totally opposite approach to that, and to again speak to the people who we want to work with, and help them go see the result that they want.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, oh, you said I'm gonna be rich in 2 months. I'm not rich yet. Oh, it's 3 months and I haven't made $20,000 a month yet.
It's a $500 a month client for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. What about with management, right? Because a big part of that 35 M's is scaling teams and scaling systems and processes, right? The boring shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like weekly meetings, weekly one-on-ones, KPI reviews, call recording reviews, right? Day in, day out, week in, week out. Rome, any big lessons when it comes to sales management that you have?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what my sales process is, bro. When we get somebody new, first week, we bathe them in good sales calls. All you listen to 40 good sales calls all week. That's all you do. Second week, you're going to start shadowing. Shadow the top guy, shadow me. For the first week, write notes, write your questions. Third week is when we put on like a half schedule or like just outbound leads.
So you go 2 weeks,
Yes.
2 weeks, no calls?
Yes.
I'm the opposite. I'm like 2 days.
2 days.
and then calls. Yeah.
You have too much trust in you guys, bro.
What I've been doing recently
That's actually interesting.
is and tell me what you think of this. What I've been doing, and we just did it this week.
Well, your guys come in already trained. That's
Yeah.
the thing, too. Right. To keep it to the mind.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but what I do is, okay, cool, contract signed, instantly send them out 2 Loom videos, onboarding for the agency, SOPs, and client,
Yeah.
right? Book a meeting next day, go over it, great. Send them like 3-4 sales calls of closed deals. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Role play it. Tomorrow in the morning, we're going to role play it again.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, you got it. Any questions? Great. And then I just throw them on calls, right? Throw them on calls because I know in the beginning, like, what I don't like doing is like nitpicking and like talking about sales or like, oh, hey, like you need to fix your tonality here or you should try asking these. Like, I don't want to talk about any of that. Like, bro, you just need to go pitch 100
Dial.
people this
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk about strategy from there.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, those are also not inbound, right? Those are just like straight outbound, like having them dial like old leads, right?
Yeah, old leads, and then the ones who perform a little bit better, throw them some new leads, and then slowly transition them over. Like that's exactly how Francesco started. Italian guy who flew in from Italy to Canada. He's been with us for the last month now. It's funny though, like you just found out that he's here. Yeah, he's been with us for like 3-4 weeks
Yeah.
now.
That's crazy.
He started because he came out to the mastermind that we did end of July.
Yeah.
And whatever. Like I could tell he was like super hungry. Like he was kind of where I was at when I was first getting into this, right? Just like 20 years old, super hungry, just trying to make it. And yeah, I was like, okay, bro, fine. Like I'll give you a shot. I gave him just on this one client that we managed, very low scale, nothing serious at all. It's actually an offer that I use more of like a training ground for sales guys actually. And yeah, I gave him leads from March of this year, right? From March, April, May, right? I gave him like 1,000 leads, and I was like, okay, cool. Show me what you got. Made some shit happen, like he was closing
Those are
deals.
old leads, man.
Yeah,
Those
old
like
leads. I
3-4
was like,
month
bro,
leads, yeah.
show me what you got. Let me see what you can do. Made some deals happen. Great. After that, we ended up moving him over in less than a month. We ended up moving him over onto a higher leverage opportunity, better lead flow. Got him on. He's on book calls now. Still has a long way to go. Still has a long way to go. Still a lot of room for improvement. But like he's a dog, bro. Like he's a hustler. Like he had, I think he went on like a 9-day streak, closing a deal every single day. Majority of which are also outbound, even as he's getting book calls.
Nice.
Closed the 5K deal this weekend. So like yeah, I like doing that because it's and tell me how you deal with this, bro, because something that as a manager that I feel like I've struggled with before is like I have a lot of and it's always like this with sales, right? There's always a lot of churn, right? There's always a lot of people coming in, people coming out, right? You never know when you hire someone, are they going to be a killer or not? You only really know when they start selling, right? So like for me, I would hire people and then I wouldn't want to fire them, and then they would stick around for way too long.
Yeah.
How do you go about dealing with that?
What do you mean?
Hiring, firing, building out your team. Let me ask you this way: how do you, when you're hiring somebody, right? When you're bringing someone onto one of your offers, like how do you know that they're going to be good?
I mean, we don't really know. I mean, the reason why we put them on our offer is because we've heard them role play, and they sound decent. They're coachable, right? So we already have that. But people still change whenever they get on a real call. They start overthinking because it's a real call. A lot of insecurities. Anyways, I give everybody a month. You have a month to close. I don't expect a lot of output, but I expect a lot of input. And that's why, like, the first week, bathe with good sales calls, many, like 40. So you listen to different types of prospects, different types of questions. The second week, you actually shadow me. And maybe towards the end of the week or third week, and then I'll start giving you leads. you have like 10 conversations today. You give me your best conversation. I will listen to this conversation. I will give you 2 things you need to work on, and then I'm gonna listen to it again, see if you improved it or not. And if you didn't improve it again, I'll give you one more chance. And bro, you need some sort of intelligence. You need to be smart, coachable. If he's not gonna take my advice twice, done. Khalas. But as long as you can take what I'm telling you, are applying it, then we should be good. And you have a month.
Yeah, that's a big one, just coachability, right? Like, hey, if I tell you, and we used to do this in interviews where it's like, role play, okay, cool, fix this.
2 things, yeah. Because I feel like a big thing that most like managers do is just give them so much things you need to work on. This and this. Don't say this and do this and then. 2 things. They could have fucking 10 things you need to work on, but work on these 2 things, implement them. Okay, now you have a better conversation. Now let's focus on the next thing.
Yep.
And you always have to chop off the bottom 10%, bro. Because then if we could keep the low 10% people who are not performing, then that sets the standard for the other guys think that that's okay. And it's not okay. And that's how you ruin the fucking culture of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be very detached with management. At the end of the day, you can't get emotionally attached to somebody just because you want them to succeed, right? At the end of the day, they take your advice, and if they're producing, they're producing.
Yeah.
If not, they're not.
I had to let somebody go last week, bro. Did I feel bad? Yes, felt a little bit bad, but at the end of the day, I know this is good for him. I know he'll go, he'll get better, he'll learn, find himself another opportunity, but this opportunity was not for him. He might not like me right now, and that's totally fine, but I know down the road he'll be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I remember there was one round of guys, I just like fired them. They were just like all doing shit. It was bad. It was like a really
Get
bad,
out of my office!
Keep
like it
thinking
was
this coffee.
things were not going good. Whatever. It was just I just like out the blue. Boom. All 3 of you guys, you're done. Fired. Contract terminated. Right.
I remember, yeah.
And like yeah, it was what it was. Right. Like it was definitely time for that to end. But what I learned from that was a really big lesson, right? Which is like setting proper expectations, right? Where it's one, I need to make sure that I'm doing every single thing within my power and more, right? To get someone who's underperforming back up to standard.
Yes.
And if that's not happening, then it's like setting expectations, right? Okay, cool. Hey, this is exactly what you're struggling with. These are your metrics. This is exactly where you need to improve. These are the actions and these are the things that I want you to do for the next 2 weeks. And if there isn't an improvement in sales by X amount, then we're going to have to part ways there. Right. And it's like even just setting that made now it's so natural and it's mutual. Right. Where it's not, it's all good. It is what it is. It's part of the game. Right. But there's no bad blood in that. That was a lesson that I learned.
By the way, I talked to this person, a friend of mine. She runs this. She works in this multi-million-dollar fashion company, and she like buys clothes. And it's the same thing with them. They give 2 weeks. So like, yo, you have 2 weeks to bring it up, or else you're done.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies actually do that.
Yeah.
Definitely good practice.
PIP. Yeah. Performance Improvement Plan.
PIP. Yeah.
That's what it's called. You get pipped. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? But like something that I'm reading a book right now on sales management. This is by the guy who started. He took the lead on HubSpot, which is obviously a massive like CRM, right? Like Salesforce, that kind of thing, right? And yeah, so he came from an engineering background actually. So he had like that analytical kind of mind, no sales background. So the whole book is basically about how he scaled the HubSpot sales team from 0 to 100 million with basically 0 sales leadership experience.
Wow.
Right. And everything that he talks about in the book, it's called the sales acceleration formula. Right, where it's like a formula, right? It's like these are the things, these are the processes, these are the numbers, the actions, right? It's very like formulaic, right? And I think that's been the biggest perspective shift for me because we're great coaching, training, leading, hyping guys up, motivating. That's great. I think something I definitely have had to work on is like the numbers side of it, right? Being able to look at all the KPIs. right? Understand them, make decisions. Okay, if someone's show up rate is low, right? Okay, like what steps can we put in place to get that show up rate up to speed, right? If someone's EPL is low, what does that mean? Right? Okay, let's listen to a call recording, let's figure it out, you know? And I feel like that gave me a lot of control over the outputs, because it's like, and even as a salesperson too, right? Like as a salesperson, you're really focused on, okay, what commissions am I making? How much sales am I making? But like, you just got to look at the numbers, right? And it tells you a lot. It tells you exactly what knobs you got to turn and what buttons you have to click to go and get the kind of result that you want, you know?
Otherwise, you're just running around like a headless chicken. Like
Yeah.
if you're not making data-driven decisions,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well, do I work on this? Do I work on that? Like, where's the roadblock?
Yeah, exactly. And then you like rely on emotions, right? And
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like quantity versus quality. Where you're saying like we're good with the coaching and training and motivating, like that's like the quality, but the quantity is the numbers, like what's actually being tracked. You know? What's being tracked? What are the KPIs?
yeah.
And you need both. I think numbers are very important. I'm gonna pick up that book. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna help me with more with management
Yeah.
on top
yeah.
of what we're doing right now. What's it called?
I'll text it to you.
Okay.
Sales Acceleration Formula
Sales
by
Acceleration.
Mark Roberger.
Roberger, where's he from?
I don't fucking know.
God bless.
But yeah, qualitative and quantitative, right? So there's like listening to a call and being like, yo, this guy's tonality fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This guy sounds like a salesperson. Okay, his objection handling is weak. His presentation is weak. His intro is weak. His questions he's asking sucks.
Yeah.
Or they're good, right?
Yeah.
That's like the qualitative, right? Where you're looking at the quality. You're listening to it. Okay, cool. We do some sales training on it, whatever, right? It's another thing when you go and you look at, you know, sales calls where it's, you know, one closer got 50 book calls. You know, maybe he's a leading closer, right? He got 50 book calls. He did 30K in sales, for example, right? And there's another closer with 15 book calls that did 20K in sales, right? It's like one closer is making more, but there's a serious numbers problem there, right? Like whether it's the show up rate, whether it's the close rate,
Yes.
whether it's the average order value, are they just going too fast to a payment plan and they're not able to close a high ticket deal,
Yeah.
right? Okay, cool. Let's have a meeting. Let's address that. Here are the action steps to work on and improve on, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like a different thing, you know? But like, I like it. It's cool, you know? It's fun. Definitely something that, you know, we're going to have to, I mean, we've been doing it for a long time. We're only really scratching the surface with what's possible. Like when you think, like even like reading this fucking book, you know, like this guy had like 5 different sales departments of like 50 salespeople, right? He had like 5 sales managers who were managing like 50 people each, right? This dude who was writing the book, you know, it's like, imagine that. It's like, that's really the level that we have to get to.
Build an army.
Yeah. But
What were those different teams? Were they all like tasked to do the same thing? Did he say, or were they like outbound, inbound, follow up?
I'm not too sure. I know, yeah, I mean, there's obviously different like tiers to what they do, right? You know, in terms of like where they're at in the sales process, I'm not too sure 100% though, but like it's a massive company, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, what's interesting, and even like what we're doing now, right? Like as we scale, right? Like we've worked with, you know, so many different accounts now, so many different clients that we've scaled for, so many different industries, built so many teams, where it's really just the same process over and over. Like when you think of like the offer that I'm managing right now, right? Like that offer did not exist 2 months ago, and now like it's scaling very hard. Like it's doing some decent revenue, right? For how many months that we're in, right? And the reason why is because, you know, Dylan, Antonio, the guys in the back, they have everything on the funnel, the marketing side, the copy, everything just to a T. It's a conveyor belt, right? Boom, 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 boom. We get it down, right? And I think on the sales management side, you know, a lot of it is the same thing, right? Where it's every single thing. We just have it down so tight where we can just deal with every problem, same process. And that's what Hermosi says, right? It's not one silver bullet. It's 1,000 golden BBs, right? It's a lot of people think it's just like one thing, right? It's one big client that we have, or one whatever. Once we get this, then we're fucking rich. No, it's 1,000 little tiny things, little tiny processes that are all perfect that work together to go and build a massive company.
Most definitely.
You know, yeah, management is fun, definitely cool.
I mean, that's the next level, guys. Like, if you're watching this, and there's levels to this shit. You can start off and just be a closer, and you can make 10, 15, 20 grand a month. You can stay doing that and live that life, remote style. It's a beautiful life. You can go to Bali, you can go to Colombia, you can go to all these different countries and pay like $1,000 in rent and live cheap and live like a king by just taking a few sales calls a day. Or you can take it up a notch like us, like we did, right? To be able to go and make that 50, 100K a month. So there's levels to this shit.
Well, it's interesting because it's like skill stacking, right?
Yeah.
It's like the base of it is sales, right? And that's really the hardest thing to learn.
Yeah.
I would probably say. Would you guys
Sure.
agree?
Yeah.
Like really understanding the sales side, understanding how people think, buyer psychology, you know, a proper structured sales process that's effective, right? Really getting that down and being good within it. And then once you get that down, it's like, okay, cool. Now we add in fulfillment to it. Right, where we've been learning fulfillment in sales the entire time, where you're learning what people want and what it looks like and what's important to them. Right, you do 1 million sales calls. When you're breaking down certain things to them, you understand, okay, how do I speak to certain pain points or certain problems? Right, you start learning the marketing side of it. Right, sales management. Right, starting the own offer. It's like a lot of the skills that come after sales come a lot easier once you really understand the sales. You know,
It's the foundation.
yeah.
100%. Yeah, when it comes down to what we just spoke about, right? Sales is the foundation. Imagine it like a bucket. You want to fill that bucket as much as possible. And then right when you're at the brim, you want to pour what's in your bucket into a team, right? Into these different buckets, fulfillment, management. So first, analyze, where are you at on the journey? What bucket are you? Are you filling your sales bucket? Are you filling the fulfillment bucket? Are you filling the management bucket? And then based on that, you know, pour into the respective bucket to make the level up.
Hell yeah. Cool. Well, guys, now listen, we are giving away a shit ton of free stuff. If you guys want to master sales and do what we do, if you would prefer not to figure it all out over years of trial and error, stress, headache, and you know, everything else that comes with it, we have 71 modules of sales training that we used to charge thousands of dollars for, and we give it away for free. It's down below, linked in the description. You'll see our 10-step framework, our objection handling, buyer psychology, live sales calls, PDFs, documents. There's a link to a community that you can join to role play, to meet other people and get good at this stuff. There's job postings in this stuff. We just give it all away for free. And also you'll find all of our YouTube channels linked down below. Check it all out. You know, come rock with us, come make money with us, come learn with us, and yeah, stick around for the journey.
Yeah, make a fucking commitment to make a change today, guys. Like, you're watching our YouTube video. If you stuck around this long, it's clearly you want more from your life, right? So take some action. Go look at the first video. You know, take some action today for the next couple of days. We're very easily accessible, guys. For now, we still have a small brand. You can message us on IG, and I'll probably respond to you in minutes. But yeah, do something about it, guys.
Hit us up. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Charge it to
Peace.
the game.